Alright, so I've been building a hunter's lodge, and I've got most of the structure. I use a Spanish tile for the ceiling for a roof, and I want to change that to a thatching. I've really made a good thatching before, and I know that a lot of it gets built off of good texturing, but I want to build it in 3ds Max and show you how I can do it. And this also is going to be kind of one of those areas where I say that I like 3ds Max better than Maya for one of these reasons. And while Maya has awesome tools, this is one of my favorite things about 3ds Max is using splines. Okay, so from here, I'm going to build a planar object. I'm going to use a keyboard method. I'm going to leave it at 0, 0, 0. I'm going to make it 100 by 100. Hit create. I'm going to take that off the red. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. I'll just give me a very subtle green. Alright, so with that there, I'm going to freeze it because this is going to be my reference. We'll leave it, just name it real quick. Great, frozen, cool. Alright, now what I'm going to do is using the spline tool, I'm going to actually use the top view. And we're going to start off with a basic line, and I'm going to use this as my top, and that will be where the binding will start, and then we'll have the first tie off, and then this was where it kind of gets crazy. So what I'm going to do here, about there, I'm going to make an instance of it, make 2, and we'll make these, actually these need to be very visible because I'm going to leave them wireframes, so let's make them white. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this one and make sure that I understand that it's a copy. I'm just going to change its structure a little bit, and then I'm going to make an instance of this. Slide that over. And I'll do a couple more variations of these. And what this will allow me to do is make quick copies, quick variations across the entire thing. I can mix and match and rotate and do all kinds of things to just kind of help me get me some variations. Slide that over here, and we'll put you, make an instance. Okay, so by default, this software, most software just has the line as an actual unrenderable object. Let's hide my ref plane real quick. And that's one thing I love about 3ds Max is that I can actually go in here. I'll turn that on, and I'm going to go to the rendering tab and slide all the way to the top. And we're going to have enable in viewport and enable the renderer. And so now what we have are some wires. These are a 12-sided segment, so I'm going to change that to 6. I don't need a whole bunch because we're going to keep it small. We want to make it efficient. We'll get to make it look good later, but we'll repeat this process with all these. Now, for the rest of the time that I create splines, it'll remember that these two things are checked, so when I create new splines, oh, looks like I made copies. That's not a problem. Okay, so now when I make a copy of this one, let's put it right next to it. I'll make a copy, and all the settings are set for rendering. It's the 3D object. I mean, I can throw an edit polygon here, but before I do that, I can move my vertices single vertex and get a 3D object moving like a pipe or tree or thatch, a thatchery, like this grassy wheat thing. Alright, cool. Alright. And we'll just make some more copies here. So now if I make an instance of all these, it's making an instance of the ones that are there. So even if they're copies of each other, the rest of these are going to be instance. And so that'll allow me, so now I can actually move some things around. So what I can do here, let's just start kind of playing around with it. What I want to do eventually, I'm going to collapse these ends here to make thinner points, and then when I add a turbo smooth and add more geometry, I'm going to increase the amount of influence and add some noise and stuff. But we'll start off with noise right now. While it's a spline, I'm going to select about half of the vertices. Let's do this real quick. We're going to add an edit spline on top of everything. So there's multiple objects. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do this. Cancel. Right click, convert to spline. And we're going to attach multiple. Cancel. Weird. Attach multiple. That's weird. Cool. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, so I'm going to grab all these vertices. Let's turn this off for a second. Alright, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get rid of my plugin for Houdini. Interpolation. We want to go to soft selection. There we go. Put that up a little bit. I can take this down. That'll decrease the amount of influence across the board. So this way, these will have the highest influence. This will be medium up here, and then this will be low, and this will be none. The fact that these are yellow is actually showing that they're the first vertices in each one of these segments. So don't let that confuse you, even though that probably is confusing. So go to vertex, leave it on there, and then we're going to go into the noise modifier. If I can get control of my mouse. Noise. All right, we are here. I'll just throw some noise on here and get some variations on our object. Cool. All right, so let's go back into line. I'll turn that back on. All right, now what we can do if we really wanted to actually have better quality at this level in terms of detail, and we can change our corner verts and make them smooth, and that'll give us some more detail, it'll look smoother and nicer across the board. I don't like doing that yet because when we get to a future state up here, I'll add an edit poly, and that'll allow me to, because I need to actually edit some vertices first. So I'll grab all those faces, we'll deselect these, and just have just those areas. Now that I have that, what I can do here is do a quick bevel. Plus, I hit OK, and then I can just collapse all of those. So now I have a little bit cleaner, it has a little bit more of a natural tip to it. I can grab these vertices now that I have that polys. Let's go ahead and I'm going to, at this point, collapse to, and we're going to add, the reason why I collapse 2 is because I can have access to my NURM subdivision, which is like turbo smooth. I can grab those vertices there, turn off the cage. And go back into smoothing, soft selection. Turn that on, and then we'll hit grow a couple times. And then I can add a little bit more noise. Just keep repeating this process until I'm happy. And then when I get to a certain level, what I'm going to do is start kind of stacking up variations.